Hello and a very good morning. You're watching WION with me, Shivangi Shukla, and these are the top stories that we are tracking at this hour. Three people were killed and over 10 injured after a gunman stormed a supermarket in southern France on Friday before being shot dead. The attacker took 8 people hostage. Reports suggest the attacker claimed allegiance to the Islamic State and even demanded release of terrorist attack suspect Salah Abdeslam. French President Emmanuel Macron has called the killing of 3 people in southern France an act of terrorism, but says security services were still checking whether the Islamic State group was really behind the attack as it claims. Students have called U.S. lawmakers to pass legislation banning assault rifles and access to them, as thousands of activists and students are expected to descend on the U.S. Capitol to demand more gun control. The March for Our Lives movement is part of a grassroots movement prompted by the attack that left 17 people dead at a Florida high school. Students at a town view magnet school in Texas walked out of class on Friday to protest gun violence. The walkout comes as students and activists prepare for March for Our Lives plan in Washington, D.C. to protest gun violence. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that a comprehensive trade deal with South Korea was close to being done. The Commerce Department chief also said a deal could be formally announced next week. Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has said he would be willing to talk and negotiate with the person chosen by Catalonia's parliament to lead the regional government as long as that candidate was permitted by law to be elected. Rajoy made his comments during an EU summit in Brussels after Catalan parties failed for a third time to elect a regional president. Carles Puigdemont has also said that he supported ERC leader Marta Rovira's decision to go into self-imposed exile in order to avoid a possible prison sentence. Rovira, who faces up to 25 years in prison, is free on a bail bond of €60,000 pending an investigation over her role in Catalonia's banned independence drive. Former Catalan leader Carles Puigdemont, who is in self-imposed exile, has said that he and other Catalan separatist leaders were fighting against an authoritarian regime. Puigdemont further said the legal situation of Catalan separatist leaders reveal problems in the Spanish state's democratic system. Spain's Supreme Court has ordered 5 more Catalan separatist leaders, including the latest candidate to become regional president, Jordi Turull, to be jailed pending their trial for a crime of rebellion on the grounds they represent a flight risk. The 25 Catalan leaders will be tried for rebellion in a sharp escalation of legal action against separatists. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said that the evidence of Russia's role in the Salisbury nerve agent attack is solidly based. She also said Germany and France would collectively discuss further measures and then decide on the future course of action. Britain's forensic investigators have removed the bench where former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter were found unconscious after being poisoned with a nerve agent in the southern English city of Salisbury. Police found Skripal and his daughter Yulia unconscious on a bench outside the Maltings shopping centre in Salisbury. Millionaire Brexiter Jacob Rees-Mogg is the bookmakers' favourite to become the next leader of the Conservative Party. His foes dismiss Rees-Mogg as a hidebound reactionary, but he leads a powerful group of lawmakers that Prime Minister May must mollify as she tries to forge a Brexit deal. Family and friends of the victims in the crash of a German Wings Airbus will gather today for the 3rd anniversary of the tragedy. All 50 people on board were killed when co-pilot Andreas Lubitz deliberately flew a A320 jet. Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir has said Iran needs to get out of Yemen and that there are underlying problems with the nuclear deal with Iran. Saudi Arabia called the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers a flawed agreement. His comments came ahead of a meeting between the Saudi Crown Prince and US President Donald Trump. US President Donald Trump has signed newly passed $1.3 trillion spending bill ending suspense over a surprising threat, and he made hours earlier to veto the budget and shut down the federal government. Trump used the threat to draw attention to his displeasure about immigration issues, although he said the bill would boost funding to the military. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he would repay the trust of the voters by working towards creating jobs, raising incomes, improving healthcare and building new infrastructure. Putin said, though it would be irresponsible to promise that all shortcomings would be fixed immediately. After withdrawal from Hasrata, more rebels in the towns of Irbil, Jobar, Ain, Terma and eastern Ghouta have agreed to leave for the northwest with their families and any other civilians who did not wish to come back under Assad's rule. A spokesman for the rebel-held group, Falak al-Rahman, said it would also release captured government soldiers. 167,000 people have been displaced from Afrin district since Turkish forces launched a military offensive in Syria's northern town on January 20th. The United Nations has said the massive influx of newly displaced people was putting a strain on host communities and health facilities in the surrounding area and villages. A car bomb has killed at least 14 people and wounded dozens more who had gathered to watch a wrestling match in southern Afghanistan on Friday. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the blast, which went off outside the match venue in Lashkargah, capital of the province of Helmand. Martin Vizcarra has been sworn in as Peru's next president, taking the reins of a nation that has been rocked by a sprawling corruption scandal involving Brazilian builder Odebrecht and a bitter feud between former President Pedro Pablo Kuczynski and the opposition-run Congress. Thousands of Poles dressed in black protested across the country against an attempt by the ruling Conservatives and the powerful Catholic Church to ban most abortions. Several thousand protesters gathered near the Parliament building in Warsaw with the banners reading, "Abortions is a human right and I think, I feel, I decide." Venezuela residents have said they lack confidence in President Nicolas Maduro's decision to knock 3 digits off the country's ailing Bolivar currency amid soaring hyperinflation. The measure to divide the Bolivar by 1,000 will take effect from June 4th. New notes will be issued, although there will be no change in the Bolivar's value. The United States has charged 9 Iranians and an Iranian company with attempting to hack into hundreds of U.S. and international universities. Dozens of companies and parts of the U.S. government on behalf of the Tehran government. The cyber attack pilfered more than 31 terabytes of academic data from 144 U.S. universities. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has said that his first term in office had strengthened the state and defended his tough austerity measures days ahead of re-election vote in which the former military commander faces no serious opposition. The Prime Minister of Czech Republic, Andrej Babis, has said his government will probably expel Russian diplomats in the wake of poisoning a former Russian spy in Britain. EU member states have agreed to take additional punitive measures against Russia, which accused the bloc of joining a London-driven hate campaign against it. Russian Ministry of Defense has released a video depicting military drills in Siberia involving S-300 missile systems. The ministry said it used small-sized flying apparatus as targets. S-300 specializes in ground-to-air defense. Around 2,000 military personnel were involved in the drills. Bolivia's President Evo Morales has called on Chile to negotiate sovereign access to the Pacific Ocean for the landlocked nation. Access to the sea has been a recurring bone of contention between Chile and Bolivia over the decades, and the International Court of Justice is currently mediating a dispute between the two Andean neighbors. China's Tiangong-1 space station is highly unlikely to cause any injuries when it falls towards Earth within the next 10 days. The European Space Agency has said. The head of ESA's Space Debris Office has said his agency's prediction was that the space lab would hit between March 30 and April 3rd. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has met 107 schoolgirls freed by terrorist group Boko Haram and promised to secure the release of their classmates still held in the remote northeast. The kidnapping of 110 girls on February 19 from the town of Dapchi was the biggest mass abduction since Boko Haram abduction over 270 schoolgirls from the town of Chibok in 2014. Slovakia's parliament was closed and a special police unit called to investigate after an activist spilled an unknown substance in front of the entrance to the building. Brussels Airlines will unveil a Smurf-themed aeroplane today, their fifth Belgian icon aircraft. In August 2017, the airline held a contest for ideas on the theme of their fifth Belgian icon. Marta Messalani's idea to use the Smurfs' fictional blue gnome-like creatures and one of Belgium's most loved cartoon characters was chosen by the public as the winner. In a rare visit, Mali's Prime Minister arrived in Kidal, which has been under the control of Tuareg rebels since 2012. Prime Minister Somelu Maiga and 8 of his ministers are making a 9-stop national tour aimed at shoring up support ahead of national elections planned for July 29th. News from India. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who is on a 5-day India visit, will today meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. Trade, investment and other bilateral issues will top the agenda during the meeting between the two leaders. Germany is India's largest trading partner in Europe. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, accompanied by his wife, visited the historic Jama Masjid in New Delhi. The German president and his wife were given a guided tour of the 17th century red sandstone monument built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has held talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi to bolster bilateral ties. Shoukry, who is on a 3-day visit to India, co-chaired the India-Egypt Joint Commission meeting with his Indian counterpart, Sushma Swaraj, on Friday. Family members of 39 Indians who were killed in Iraq by Islamic State militants in 2014 formed a negotiation committee demanding a suitable compensation from the central government. The families of the victims said they will be forced to protest if their demands are not met. Pakistan High Commissioner to India Sohail Mahmood has said Islamabad hopes for better relations with India in the wake of recent tensions over LOC firing and alleged harassment of diplomats. Pakistan alleged its diplomats and their families were being harassed in India. India has rejected the charge and in turn alleged its diplomats in Islamabad were being harassed. In a major victory for Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi High Court has reinstated 20 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs who were disqualified by the Election Commission in January. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has hailed the decision as the victory of truth. Pakistani Rangers offered sweets to their Indian counterparts near the Attari-Wagah border to mark the 78th Pakistan Day on Friday. Pakistan celebrates National Day to mark the passing of the Lahore resolution that demanded a separate state for the Muslims of British rule. Wherein anti-corruption activist Anna Hazare has begun fast unto death, demanding the government to help distressed farmers and enact Lokpal that would lead to prosecution of officials and lawmakers. Hazare is camping in the Delhi's Ramlila grounds, where he was joined by millions in his anti-corruption campaign 7 years ago. Clay bottles are selling like hotcakes in Hyderabad city as locals opt for an economical and natural cooling system to beat scorching heat this summer. Apart from being durable, the clay bottles are easy to carry and have been given a modern abstract appearance that attracts customers. Bollywood actress Kangana Ranaut planted 31 trees at her Manali home to celebrate her 31st birthday on March 23rd. Talking about her birthday plans, Kangana said, "My family has planned an elaborate lunch, though I don't like to eat much."